we do have to move along to our next story. This time we're going to talk about the divorce that took like 2.5, almost 3 years to get through. And it's the divorce of none other than Ryan Edwards, Disgraced Teen Mom Next Chapter star, and his now ex-wife, Mackenzie Standifer. I still can't believe that if you're a victim of ABUST in your marriage, the state or the city or whatever, the judge can still make you stay married to your abuser for 2+ years. Right? The guy who was stalking you, who was harassing you online, who was bullying you online, who destroyed your home, you had to stay. Like, that is so crazy to me, right? I feel like there should have been a rush express divorce in that particular situation. Now, granted, she was able to go through the process initially, like it could have happened earlier, right? But then, she, just like Ryan, neglected to file certain paperwork that was necessary for it. But still, all of this is just so, listen, I think there's a culture where you can, I think this is in the Muslim religion. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong, but where you could just declare that you're divorced, right? So when it comes to these kinds of things, like I really, really love that kind of like express, like, VIP lane to getting divorced to literal psychos like Ryan Christopher Edwards. Well, anyway, listen. It's time to go ahead and read the details of this particular divorce and what each person walks away with in the arrangement. So shout out to the U.S. Sun for getting a copy of their divorce decree, or should I say their marital dissolution agreement. So according to the U.S. Sun, Mackenzie gets to keep their home. And that is a house that she purchased back in November of 2019 for $309,000. Well, here's my thing. I got to be honest with you guys. How did she qualify for a mortgage for a home that cost that much when she already had like 3 dependents? Maybe, like 3 or 4 dependents or something like that. I still do not get it, right? Because when we get to her salary is about $4,000 a month, right? So it's $4,000 a month. You have a car, you've got children. Yet somehow you managed to qualify for a mortgage of $309,000. Like, I don't think that would have been possible in Canada, for example. Just saying. Y'all let me know. Like, is it easier to get mortgages in the US? Anyway, or maybe she had the teen mom salary at this point, because remember, when they were married or dating even, she did appear on the show, but was she getting paid that much? Because she didn't really appear on it for that long. Anyway, these are just questions that I'm asking out loud. So in addition to getting the home, and mind you, she had to repair it herself after Ryan destroyed it. And you know what I think maybe happened? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, the home that she's now living in, that she owns, was that not the home that Jen and Larry bought? It was like their lakeside home or something like that. So maybe they had some kind of like off-market deal or arrangement so that Mackenzie would be able to buy it. Like, listen, I'm asking so many, I've got so many questions in regards to this particular situation, right? Just saying. Now, and listen, I'm seeing so many comments now because, my comments section is a little bit delayed. So I'm seeing you guys' comments come up about Justin Baldoni and Blake. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that. East Awesome says marriage and divorce is all about assets and tax relief. Don't fall for it and do background checks. Amen to that. Acacia says Ryan's parents have connections in that little town. Clearly, yep. Don't forget, remember I did that little deep dive on his connection. So he's best friends with like the judge's son. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he also like a best man in the judge's son's wedding? So that's why the judge has been keeping him out of jail, even though he's been, deserving of jail time for a very long time now. Hamlet says those southern states are horrible about divorce. Yeah, I still can't stand that whole you have to be separated for at least a year, pretty much under any circumstances. Like, that doesn't feel okay to me at all. Sleepy says it's mind-blowing. The system is so broken. It really is, and here we are in 2025, and it still doesn't seem like anybody's interested in changing that. But he says, why do people keep procreating with Ryan Edwards? The D can't be that great. Well, listen. He's getting some very, very low self-esteem women who are groupies to this show. Mackenzie was a fan of this show, just like Amanda is a fan of this show. And so to them, getting knocked up by Ryan, and mind you, Amanda's a retired crackhead, right? So maybe she fried some of her brain cells, with all the rugs she was doing. I don't know. And she's, kind of like on the same level as him. And then Mackenzie, in her case, she was like, what, pregnant, like 15, 16 years old, married and divorced by the time she was like 18. Like, she's lived a long and hard life. The girl now, twice divorced, 3 children. And I think she's only like 28, 29 years old. Like, it's kind of scary how quickly these people are, just blazing through life. It truly is, to be honest with you, right? Like, he's only getting a specific type of girl. He's not getting like this, big corporate, girl with a fully developed, frontal lobe that hasn't been fried by heroin or something, Becky says he's probably a selfish lover. Listen, the man probably passes out. Like, I don't even imagine it gets hard. Like, like whiskey D, like it must be hard. Like the connection, mind and body connection, when you've been on rugs for so many years, like, where is it? I don't know. Where is your scooter? Geisha says, are they counting Mackenzie's child support? I do have, a number on that. And and that's a good question, right? I don't know if they calculated that in her earnings. I don't think that they did, but the child support is really low, you guys. He only has to pay $613 or something like that. I'll get you guys the exact number when I continue with the story, but yeah, just FYI, it's a little bit disappointing to see the figure there. Tanisha says her credit score was probably high. Well, you know what? Maybe that's what it is. Like, honestly, I'm quite impressed that she was able to buy so much house, at her salary, especially when it's already divided amongst children and the car and other things. East says it's easier for people without student loans to get mortgages in the U.S. I don't think they all they factored into your children into the formula. All she needs is a really good mortgage loan officer to tweak the numbers. Well, damn, listen, she needs to do an ad for her mortgage loan officer. Like, I'm kind of feeling like, a little bit too nosy, but I don't know. Like, listen, I've been through that mortgage process and it's not easy. Like, they really freaking comb through everything, Shelby says Al said it was Mackenzie's name because Ryan had bad credit. So I don't understand how he wasn't charged when exactly. And, now it makes sense why she had to pay for it herself, unfortunately. But again, he should have been charged by the officers. They saw the damage. But you know what? They probably said that it was a civil thing. Although I think that things like that should be like fines, but apparently it was a civil matter and Mackenzie never opted to sue him or anything like that, which to me is crazy. I think she should have, but maybe she was scared, right? This man has already proven to be dangerous and unhinged. So I don't know. I don't think it was a gift because she's got the mortgage on it. We need a cat. But yeah, I really do think that the parents probably like lowered the value. I think the house is worth more because remember, it's right on the lake and it's a really beautiful big house. So maybe they like worked out a mortgage. Maybe it's like a secondary mortgage, like that they already have on another home. Then they put Mackenzie. I don't know, but like something happened for her to be able to afford that home on her salary. Gwen says, depends on how much money your family has. Really? Although right now I don't know anyone my age who's been able to buy a house, and it just gets worse, right? It gets worse and worse and worse. Like I'm so pissed for like the next generation. What are they called? The Zoomers or whatever? Like, how are they going to be able to start their lives? Like it's bad out here. It's bad. Sleepy says you'd think being a fan of the show would make you want him less. Well, that's the thing. But again, remember, you guys are looking at this from the perspective of healthy, normal people. Mackenzie and Amanda are not healthy, normal people. Again, remember what all that Mackenzie has been through and stuff at like her young age, right? And then like she's looking at it from a groupie brain. Like, they're still groupies to a lot of listen, there are groupies who would have babies with Charlie Sheen, for example, right? And then Amanda, she's been a groupie of the show, the guy, and then again, like she's been on rugs for a very long time, so that thing just doesn't work like the way that it should, right? Gwen says, I know 3 guys that are looking and their families are at least middle class, so now the parents and the family had to say, oh Lord, the system is so broken, y'all. Thanks, Brie. Love you too, boo. You guys, why don't we get into our next story? We want more details on this, you guys. So now we know that Mackenzie gets to keep the home. She purchased it for $309,000 back in November of 2019. Okay. And so she also got to keep her car while Ryan got to keep his 2018 Ford F-150, 2024 Ducati, 2013 Mustang GT, 2021 BMW, 1969 Camaro, and 2017 Harley. Why does one man need so many vehicles? That's crazy. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 cars and 1 motorcycle for one man. And mind you, his salary is like $4,000 now that the show's gone. So listen, I know that the resale value on cars is not that high, but hopefully he's able to do something, right? Because the insurance on 4 cars, 4 or 5 vehicles or whatever, plus all the other expenses, all the kids that he has to take care of, right? Like that is an awful. And can I ask you guys, what does his new girl Amanda do for work? Like, is it the TikTok lives? Like, what does she do to make money? Because this seems like a lot of money, expensive. All the stuff that they've got are more expensive than the amount of money that they are pulling in. So I am kind of concerned there. I wouldn't be surprised if his parents were helping them financially though, right? So apparently both of them waived their right to alimony, so no spousal support from either end. They are each responsible for any of the debt that they have individually, and neither one of them can make any disparaging statements about the other on social media, which is very, very good, very important. We already saw the tirade that Ryan went on. He also accused Mackenzie of cheating. Well, listen. At first, I thought it was crazy, right? Because we already knew that Ryan had been cheating from the very beginning of that relationship. Remember his Tinder DMs leaking, and he was asking girls how pink their coochies were and whatnot. Like, so I was always like, oh, like, no, he's just saying that because he got caught over the years and he wants to make Mackenzie look bad. However, Mackenzie, she's now been dating for a very long time a married man, not just any married man, but a man who was married to her own friend. So I wouldn't be surprised if it were true that she was cheating as well. Okay, so when it comes to the children, Mackenzie is the primary residential parent. She will have the kids 225 days out of the year, while Ryan has them 140 days. There is a 3-phase parenting plan that Ryan Edwards is currently on. So he gets the kids overnight every Saturday from 10 a.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. starting August 16th in phase 1. For phase 2, he gets the kids Thursday after school to Sunday at 6 p.m. every other weekend. And on the weekends, Ryan does not have the children. He has to parent from Thursday after school to Friday morning. So just a little, night in the middle of the week. And then in February of 2026, Ryan gets the kids from Thursday after school to Monday morning every other weekend. And on the weekends that he doesn't have overnight parenting, he has them from Thursday after school to Monday morning. And so when it comes to child support, it's as I remembered earlier, he has to pay $613 a month, which is peanuts, right? But then $613 a month for the kids, right? Then you're paying for food for you and your family, outings and stuff. It's you, it's Amanda, it's Amanda's kid, it's Bentley, it's Jagger, Stella, and what's the new baby's name? It's a family of like 7 now. That's a lot. So you're paying for that. Then you're paying for your house. Then you're paying for your insurance. Then you're paying for your electricity, your water. You're paying for your cars and vehicles. You've got like 6, 7 of them. And your monthly salary is like $4,282. Granted, this is recent. Previously, he was making about $20K a month or something like that. And as for, how much money he set aside, I don't think he set aside much money. Remember, he was snorting half this money, injecting the other half, right? So don't be surprised if you see some changes to help kind of adjust to his new standard of living. Mackenzie also makes about $4,166. So their incomes aren't too far off. What does she do exactly? Like, I know she's always in scrubs, but she's not a nurse, is she? Like, she does some kind of like nursing related thing, but maybe she's not exactly a nurse. I'm not sure, right? So listen, congratulations to them on finally getting this divorce. I imagine that it must have been an absolute nightmare to stay married to this man for 2 years, past the date of filing. She filed for the first time in, February of 2023. And here we are ending 2025, and it's finally happening. Oh, Kate's here. Hey, Kate. Kate says that the name of their daughter is Presley. Okay, cool. Presley. Well, there you go. Like a family of 7, including little baby Presley. And look at all these like dépenses. Look at all these things that you have to pay for. Like they're, to me, I'm seeing red every single month. Not red like anger. However, red is in, money, bleeding money, right? Like not enough money being brought in to offset the amount of expenses that they have. So let's see what some of y'all have to say about this, okay? Camry says, it's about time the divorce is final. I wouldn't be surprised if he destroys Amanda's house in the future. I don't know what she sees in him. And you know what? That's the thing with some of these girlies. You see the way he treats another woman like absolute garbage, and you decide to sign up for that nonetheless. Like, that's absolutely crazy to me, right? And we all know that this is going to end poorly, right? Maybe even sometimes worse than it ended with the last chick, right? Look at Portia and Simon. She was there keying when he was humiliating his ex-wife, and now look at her. He's running her pockets ragged. He's not paying for some things in the house. There's liens against the house, and the man is no longer in the U.S. He might never be able to enter the U.S. again. So what's it to him to just let that thing go into foreclosure and let Portia suffer financially? He was also ordered to pay her some alimony and stuff. And again, he's not in the U.S. Who can force him to pay that woman, right? You got to be careful. Look at the man's track record with other women. Kate says Amanda was working with other people in recovery, but then she had the baby and got custody of her kids. So I don't know if she went back to work yet. Oh, well, that's great for her if that's what she's doing. Hopefully that motivates her to stay on the right track. And, I really like her kid. He's so cute. Listen, if they get another season of the show, I would be so happy to see more of him. He actually very quickly became like my first, not my first, but my favorite teen mom kid. I think he's absolutely adorable. Remember when he was like to Bentley, I always wanted a brother. Be still, my beating heart. Tadisha says Ryan has a lot of kids. Oh my God, I was shocked last year when Mackenzie let it slip that he had an outside child. Well, what's the tea on that? Like, that just came and went, and now with the gag order, you're not going to be able to hear her talk about that anymore. But I do remember that, and I had completely forgotten until you brought it back up, Tadisha. That's crazy, isn't it? Right? Yeah, you guys, she did make that allegation, but we never got to see or hear anything about the child. When he says, seems like a pretty fair arrangement. Yeah, because one thing about Ryan, he really likes these cars, and these are things that he had before Mackenzie, and like Mackenzie, she gets to keep that family and a certain level of like majority custody for the kids, which is great. So, and then the child support, well, given that his salary is now, in the $4,000 per month, 600 and whatever is pretty fair for that, right? So yeah, it does seem like things overall worked out rather equally. But honestly, I do have to wonder, like, if it was worth it for Mackenzie. I think she thought that she hit the jackpot, and I think that's another reason. When we wonder why do girls get with Ryan? You see him on the show. Sometimes, outside of being groupies for the person, and remember, Ryan was hot once upon a time, right? Like, he used to be really hot, especially at 16 and pregnant. Where was I going? Yeah. And so when you see people on TV, a lot of times people, especially young people, especially sheltered people, they assume that every single person on TV is rich, right? And once upon a time, he had a lot of money, right? So maybe that's it. And y'all remember, as soon as she got with him, Mackenzie started having Rolex watches, Cartier bracelets and stuff. Like, I think she was about that money. I really do. Shelby says, one that sounds like a nightmare when the co-parenting is volatile. Abso-freaking-lutely. And good question, Steph. Has he ever come out with like any information about that? Because I don't even remember hearing anything about a child support arrangement between the two of them. Great question. BR says, I understand that they want parenting to be almost equal and fair, but all that split week shuffling, yeah, and one overnight seems like a lot. I agree. I definitely agree with that. I like 1 week on, 1 week off in general. I feel like that, to me sounds like the most kind of, like you say, like a lot less shuffling for the kids. You get to stay one place a solid week without the random popping in and out and whatnot. Gail says, this time around, the 2-time polyop in Jenna Cullen was pre-cancer. Oh no, so sorry to hear that. Oh Lord. Oh, okay, thank God. It did not turn cancerous. Oh my goodness gracious, Gail. So sorry to hear that. Get well soon, Jenna. And, please keep us posted on how all of this transpires. Oh my goodness gracious. Kate says that Amanda works in medical sales. Does she really? Oh my God. Listen, I heard you could make some good money with that. Kellen says, isn't it so cute when dads get weekends, no responsibility? Well, you know what? It actually enrages me for the moms. Like, you have to get up with this kid. You have to do the homework with this kid. Like the annoying days. Most kids do not like school, the weekdays, right? And then when it's time to finally chill, enjoy your days because it's the freaking weekend. You can take them to the park. You can take them to the museum, the aquarium, whatever you want to do. All of a sudden, you have to give them to the dad. And you only got to hang out with them a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's not fair. So I do like, and I know you're being sarcastic, by the way, Caleb, but yeah, like I'm on the same page as you. Like, I can't stand it, So I am happy that they stopped doing the every single weekend thing now and started doing every other weekend, because it's not fair that, one parent, typically the mom, does all of the work during the week just for the dad to get to enjoy and chillax during the weekend. Not cool at all. Good morning, Trin. Nice to see you. And yes, Gwen, listen, sometimes it be like that. I was thinking about, Gwen was saying, I'm spending so much time this year coming up with stuff to say to get men to leave me alone. So far it is, listen, There's nothing you can do, unfortunately, to get them to leave you alone. Even if you go to the park with like a nice book, headphones in, someone will still come up to you and start like asking all these questions, trying to hit on you. You're like, you don't see me with this book. You don't see me with these headphones. Like, move. Like, what are you doing? Like, it can be really annoying. East Austin says, Simon Guobadia is crying broke and his business is worth over 250K. That's a 250 million then, right? $250 million. He needs to take the L and move on from Portia Williams Stewart Guobadia. I love that. Well, that's the thing. I think he's like talking to his lawyers to see if he actually does have to pay out, right? Because again, what happens when somebody who's not allowed in the country just stops paying things? Like, okay, well, F you then. Not you, East Austin, of course, but that's his thought process. I imagine to the government, like, oh, I'm not allowed in there, so why would I pay for my house? I'm not allowed in there, so why would I pay for my ex-wife? Like, does that not mean that I get to cut, really, truly cut ties at this point? Really, really curious. If any of you guys are into like international law, like international finance or anything like that, please let us know how the situation is going to potentially unfold for them. Keisha says, I don't feel bad for Mackenzie. She was desperate to get that ring. Ryan was nodding. Yes, exactly. She knew who he was. She knew, right? I think she did this because, again, fangirl, but I also think that there was a financial component. She was excited. She thought she was going to marry like a millionaire or something. And that, she and her kids would be living like rich and high off the hog. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. All she got was fool's gold when it comes to Ryan. But, that's the thing about people who just put money over everything, including character. And I think that that's a problem that Portia, what does East Austin say? Portia Stewart Williams Guobadia. Like, she also has that problem where she's so money hungry. And mind you, the girl has money, right? That she's willing to put that above anything. Like, she loses all kinds of sense when it comes to vetting a partner. And that's why she constantly finds herself in the positions that that she's in, right? And so hopefully Mackenzie learned her lesson about this. Granted, Mackenzie's very young, right? She was already like a young mom. I think she had her kid at 15, 16 years old. Like, she was having that child young, already divorced at that, young, tender age too. Like, it's also sad. It really, really is. But, now she's in her late 20s, I should say. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like she's learned all that much because guess what? Now she's being accused for a second time of being a mistress to a married man. So I don't even know what to say at this point, you guys. Like, some people are kind of just like a lost cause. And I do worry that that is the case with Mackenzie Standifer. There's a certain level of desperation or pick-me-ness in her.